What's up guys, MJH here and welcome back to my career mode with Arsenal in FIFA 13. I'm so happy I can keep saying FIFA 13 and not have to go, I mean FIFA 12, because we finally have the game. But as you can see, we have a cup game coming up in the Capital One Cup. They've finally got the actual name for the cup. That's coming up soon. And this popped up, Vidic transfer demand shocker. So I thought, ooh, hang on a sec, I could do with Vidic. You know, he's an 89 rated defender. Very hard to get past. Everything's not about pace anymore. He could be a perfect replacement or just someone I can keep on the bench in case one of my players gets injured or something like that. And here you can see his stats. Yeah, they're okay. Like for the amount of money they wanted, I think it was 12.5 million for him, which I didn't quite have at this time. I looked at his stats, I was like, yeah, he's a good stopper, but on the ball he's just not very good. So I decided not to go ahead with that yet. And then I got an email talking about my players that will be leaving on international duty. Now that is pretty awesome, so I know for one of these games coming up soon, I probably will be without half of my players. And then obviously this is the cup game we've got now against Sheffield Wednesday, I think, is it? Or is it Sheffield United, sorry. And it's my first cup game of the season, so pretty important. I did put up a slightly weaker team. I'm trying to rest a few of my players for the Premier League matches because my main focus of the first season with Arsenal is not necessarily the cup runs and things like that. It's actually to do well in the Premier League. I want to get in the top four. And there you can see they get a chance straight away. And I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find the best difficulty for me. I think world class it is. I think it is the best for me. I need to get myself used to playing the new CPU. It's completely different. And I was definitely struggling in this match. You can see we're 28 minutes in. I still haven't had a proper chance yet. However, I do get the ball up here with Fellaini. Knock it into Cazorla, who knocks it out to Wilshere. Quickly cut inside here, and look at that. Through on goal, and that is why Wilshere's in the squad. Yes, he's injured in real life at the moment. Well, actually, he's on his way back, which is exciting for us Arsenal fans. But in FIFA, you cannot not use him. He's got so much potential in this game. I think he's going to get to around, like in FIFA 12, he got to 90. You know, so I'm guessing it's going to be roughly the same, maybe just a little bit less in FIFA 13, due to all of the games he's missed for Arsenal, I guess. But still definitely well worth having him in the team. So we're 1-0 up after half-time here. And this is the goal I mentioned in the last episode. Holy shit. Fellaini, this is why I brought him in the squad, you know. I feel like Arsenal need a player like this. Giroud is someone we've brought in real life to hold up the ball. He's strong, he's tall, he's a poacher. But someone like Fellaini is someone we need in midfield, especially if Diaby is still going to be slightly injury-prone throughout his career. You know, he will miss games, and Fellaini would be perfect for that. So to keep my series kind of realistic, I brought Fellaini in. Nice shot there from Cazorla, unlucky to go wide. But, you know, the goal that Fellaini just scored, you can see why I brought him in. Just chests it down, strolls past two defenders, knocks it into the goal. I did have to change things up here because it was getting quite tight in midfield. I stuck with the same formation. I'm really enjoying that formation, 4-3-2-1, or 4-3-1-2 actually, I believe it is. So you've got that CF/cam roll. And it didn't go too well for me. As soon as I changed the team, you can see they get a goal back here. Real bad mix-up with my defence there. I don't know what happened. I think it was Sanya, actually. I tried to knock it out with Sanya, but look, it kind of deselected him and let him go through on goal to score. So they made it 2-1 after 74 minutes. But I think I managed to hold on and just try not to give away potential. Give away the ball. My dogs are barking right now, which is really frustrating when I'm trying to talk. But yeah, trying to keep the ball, and then obviously I'd knock it up to Ramsey, who puts in a perfect cross for Giroud. And that is his first goal of the Capital One Cup, and hopefully a few more to come, because he's definitely someone I'll use in the Capital One Cup, so I can rest Podolski for the Premier League matches. But that made it 3-1, and that is how it stayed. 3-1 against Sheffield United, you could say, was probably what it should have been. And then talking of Giroud, we get an offer, 9.5 million from Bayern. I think that's Leverkusen, isn't it? A purchase of 9.5 million. I was thinking, you know what? It's a nice offer. But the only way I would ever get rid of him is for more. So I decided to bump up my count. I put a counter offer up for 12.5 million, which, to be honest, it's a little bit too much. I wouldn't pay that much for Giroud. But if I was going to let him go, that's what I'd want. And they actually came back and said, sorry, too expensive. We ain't paying that, which is fair enough. So I was definitely going to keep him. But we were in the last bit of the transfer window here. Deadline day is what they call it. And I got an email saying other clubs showing interest. So this is something new they've put into the career mode. They told me that Cabaye is being looked at by many other clubs. So if I really want to get him, I have to go ahead and just make an offer now. So I went and took a look in my shortlist. As you can see, I've added a few different players from the first episode. And I looked at Cabaye and I was just, yeah, I won't go for him now. Maybe in January, maybe at the end of the season, we'll look at getting him then. But now we've got a really, really tough game. Stoke at home, at their home. So we're away to Stoke. Very physical team, very strong. And, in FIFA 12, I wouldn't be worried because technically on the ball they're not very good. But in FIFA 13, having big, tall, strong players is much harder to play against. But I get lucky here. I decided to start Henry in this match. He has actually gone down to 77 already. So when I bought him, he was 79 overall. He's already gone down to 77. So don't know if this is going to be a bad decision, but either way, I'm happy to have Henry. And you can see he gets his first goal back at the club. And that's a nice goal. He was in the right position. That is what Henry does in, day out in his career, or has done in his career. Not so much at Red Bulls. He's more of like a left winger, isn't he, there? And there you can see Giroud trying to get a goal for himself as well. Just not happening for him right now. The only way I can see myself scoring with Giroud is from crosses and corners and set plays, things like that. He's just not very good on the ball. Like I said in the last few episodes, he's just very sluggish. And I have no idea how that happened there. I have no idea how he didn't score. Completely unmarked there, which is disappointing to say the least. But they do go through on goal here, and what a save from Chesney there. He sprints out to save the ball from going in there. And it's still 1-0 coming up to half-time now. Get the ball up to Giroud here, and that is a lovely pass up here to Henry. And at this point I was thinking, no, he's not going to get it, and I was unfortunate really. The ball just couldn't have gone maybe a little bit slower, so I could have chested that one down. But either way, 1-0 up against Stoke at half-time, and I was actually relieved. It was a tough game. They're very physical, very difficult to break down their defence, especially with Shawcross, who's quite agile. But, oh my god. Is this going to be goal of the season? Mertesacker with the own goal? This is absolutely fantastic. The technique here and the calmness on the ball. Look at that. Right into the top corner of the net. Absolutely beautiful finish from Mertesacker there. Oh, I have no idea what happened there. I've done that twice now since I started playing career mode. Since FIFA 12 where I've just given it away like that. But it's alright. Giroud's on hand to score. And as I was talking about a minute ago, I was saying how I don't think I'll score unless it's in the air. I finally get a goal on the ground. And it's a really nice turn that. And he is very sluggish. You could see it there. But if you do get the wrong side of a defender and you use a power shot, you're going to score, to be honest, with most players. And thankfully I did, because that recovered the own goal I scored with Mertesacker, and it finished 2-1. But now we have a Champions Cup game against Lille. Lille are a good team. They are. So I was going into this game not taking it lightly at all. I put up a very strong squad. It was at home to Emirates, so you can say I was feeling quite confident. But what can I just say really quick? I don't like playing in the night time on this game. It makes the pitch look yellow. Is anyone else having problems with that? I don't like the way the game looks during the night time. So I might have to be just slightly anal about this and just say I'll play in the evening, maybe once every now and again. But anyway, it's some really, really poor defending there. And Lille do manage to score in the 18th minute. It was poor defending. I'm not going to blame anything else other than my poor defending there. However, the game did switch my players around when I really, really didn't want it to. So I am going to have to go into settings, I think, and turn off the auto switching, because I didn't use that in FIFA 12. But, I think I used auto switch on air balls only. And I think that's what I'm going to have to do, because obviously it's reset to default since I got the early release. And it's just, look, you can see they were absolutely ripping through my defence here. Lille are a very good team. Despite losing Hazard, they're still very strong. And I was finding it difficult handling their pace. But as you can see, talking of pace, here goes Gibbs, who's really good at the moment, actually. He's probably one of my most consistent defenders at the moment. He just runs up that wing, and Cazorla here smashes it over the bar. And I need to charge my controller. I always forget to do it. It's really a pain in the arse, that. But at half-time, still 1-0 down at home. Probably not the best result so far. I should be 1-0 up at least, or maybe just 1-1. So I decided to switch the formation to my trusty 4-2-3-1. I put Fellaini on in the defensive position as well, just to win those headers and kind of block those runs down the wings, because they were passing from a central position out to the wings all the time, and I was not coping with it, if I'm honest. And there you can see I need to adjust the crossing settings as well. I think I've got it on automatic as well. Or assisted. I want to put it on semi-assisted, so you still kind of tell the game where you want the ball to go, and it kind of does the power for you. You can see here Gervinho goes through on goal here twice, 2 attempts on goal, both saved by Landro there. Very nice save, he's a good keeper. And we're into the last minute of the game here, last chance to really get a goal back, and it just wasn't to be. It was one of those games I was always going to struggle, and I lost to Lille. My first loss of the season, and it comes in the Champions Cup, which is really not good, but you know what happened. It happens, We get another squad update here. You can see some of the youth players that have been scouted for me. We've got a few good players here with decent potential, but I decided this time not to sign any. but instead just to scout them further, see if any of their stats improve over time, and maybe we'll pick one up later on down the line. And then I got an interesting email about potential international management jobs. So he was saying how I probably won't get a very big team at first. However, there's certain teams that might be interested, so I could take up an offer. I'm still undecided whether I want to do like a lower prestigious national team. You know what? I'll decide nearer the time, and I'll maybe ask you guys on Twitter. But you know, if it's someone like Ecuador or Norway or someone like that, I probably won't take the job. I'll wait till next season and maybe get someone like England or Wales or Ireland, someone that I can you know, relate to, I guess. But Wilshere in this game here, absolutely unlucky. Oh, sorry, it was Podolski. It's because it shows you a replay of the wrong player. Podolski went close to scoring there in the first few minutes. We're against Southampton, by the way, which is always a tough game as well. They've got Lambert up front, but I do make a great start, and this is why I was mentioning Wilshere. I do remember this goal. What an absolute beast of a finish, and what a first touch as well. The first touch in this game is absolutely fantastic. They seem to have refined it from the demo, and they've got it absolutely spot on. Right there, if you want to make a good touch, you can do it. If you're holding sprint, that's when you're going to have problems. So I'd always recommend you don't hold sprint when you're controlling the ball. But they do break down the wing here. This is with Mayuka. I don't know how you pronounce his name, so go ahead and take the piss. But my marking was just, it was diabolical. No defence there. Lallana can go through and just score an easy, what is a half volley really, but completely unmarked. Look, actually that was a volley. It wasn't a half volley. It's always disappointing to concede like that, so I decided to go ahead and change my settings here. I've put auto switching on air balls, high switching move assistance, which does seem to help, and I've put cross assistance on semi. And those settings seem to be helping me out. You can see here, as soon as we get back into the gameplay, it does help me out straight away. I go down the right side with Oxlade, pass it into Wilshere here, and then I put it out to the wing, I believe. Come on, Wilshere, do your pass. There we go. Now, this is where I'm going to get my crossing back into my old ways. You know, look at that. Perfect cross to Giroud there, but it was a great save. They pulled off a really good save there to keep them in the game, and I should have been 2-1 up here. I gave the ball away with Mertesacker here right in the last few minutes of the game here. We're into the last 10 minutes soon. And bad time really to give away the ball, and I don't know what went wrong there. One thing I will say is it was very late at this time when I was playing, after about 3 hours of playing career mode. So you could say I was getting a bit tired and I wanted to sleep, but still I shouldn't be conceding goals like this. It was just poor defending, lack of focus from myself there, and 2-1 down to Southampton in the last minutes. Couldn't get one back. And then I lost my first Premier League game of the season against Southampton. That is absolutely embarrassing in my opinion. And then something else really bad happened. This was the start of another Capital One Cup game, and the game decided to freeze here. So what I decided to do was turn the console off, do my commentary, and then I will bring you those the highlights of that game, and then I've got Man City after that in the next episode. But thank you for watching this. Please do continue that support and like the video, and I will see you in the next episode.